What advice would you give to someone who wants to forgive a friend or partner, but there's still some anger that keeps coming up? Okay, so therapist move, right? Question with a question. Why does it matter that there's anger? I mean, if somebody did something that hurt you, doesn't it make sense that you're angry about it? So like what is that anger doing? What is that anger preventing? Right? Is it making it so that you can't be around that person? A lot of times when there is still unresolved anger, it is either that, number one, we haven't gotten an actual repair process that we need, whether that's an apology, some kind of making amends, something else, right? Or there's a piece of us that wants the power that comes from that anger, and so therefore is hesitant to relinquish it, right? Because when someone has hurt us and we're angry about it, we get to take this righteous harmed person stance, and that means that they have to try to make it up to us, and now we get to be in a position of greater power. So I mean, I think it's a good time to check in with yourself about what would happen if I let this anger go? Is there something I'm afraid I would lose if I let go of this anger? Is there something that I still need from this person in order for there to be repair? Do I feel like they haven't apologized? Do they feel like they don't understand? Do I feel like they haven't actually shown different behavior yet? There's a classic saying that the best apology is changed behavior. And if someone has just apologized, but they haven't had a chance yet to show you them doing something different, it makes sense that you might be hesitant. I think, too, that repair is often a slow process, slower than we want it to be, and it takes work on the part of everybody involved. So the person who caused harm has to do work to repair, to make amends, to apologize, to rebuild trust. The person who was harmed has to do work at processing their feelings, seeing what they still really need, and figuring out how they are going to heal. If you still have a lot of anger, again, I would ask you to just sit with what is the anger about? Why do you still feel this anger? What is it that you still need here? What is it that has not happened that would let you move forward? Sometimes that anger can be about us saying that we forgive something or want to move forward from something that we actually in our heart of hearts don't. That we actually in our heart of hearts cannot forgive and cannot move on from. And I think that it's important to check in with ourselves about that too, because a lot of us want to be the cool, enlightened person who can forgive anything and move on from anything and we can repair. But sometimes you can't, and you need to honor that about yourself. If you are noticing that you just can't get rid of that anger, maybe this is something you can't forgive. Maybe this is something that you just can't let go of. And as much as you would want to, it's just not going to happen. And so you need to be honest with yourself about that as well. I think a lot of us, and I've done this before, there's a story about this in my book, that there was a partner I had who cheated on me in a polyamorous relationship multiple times. And the final time that he did it, I put all these conditions on our relationship and on what he could do with the person he had cheated on me with as a way to set traps for him to fail again, so I could keep being angry at him for fucking up and keep being right and righteous. And the reality was I wasn't able to forgive him for what he did. And instead of just acknowledging that in myself and saying okay, I actually can't give you another chance. I wanted to see myself as this saint who could forgive anybody and it can all be okay. And I'm not. I'm an imperfect, messy human, and it turns out that what he had done was just more than I could forgive. So I think that there is a lot of us need to get better at acknowledging when something is just gonna hang us up, and even if we think it shouldn't, and even if intellectually we don't think it should, sometimes we just can't get past it, and we have to be honest about that and acknowledge it. And then I think also, checking in about what you need from the other person. Sometimes we haven't said all the things we need to say about how something impacted us or what something was like for us. And we're trying to again, be noble and move forward when what we might actually need instead is to say those things, right? Say things like, look, I intellectually, I want to be able to forgive this and move forward, but in my feelings, I am just so furious about this. I feel betrayed. I feel hurt. I feel so confused. And for me, the story I have is that you're doing this purposefully, because all you have to do is tell me you want to sleep with someone else, and I'm going to be happy to say yes, but then you don't tell me, and then you have sex with me without barriers when you did that with them, and like, it has to be on purpose at this point. And that's my story, but like, I think I feel this deeper betrayal than I have been acknowledging, right? Like, what is it that you need to acknowledge? And sometimes a helpful way to get at that is to just sit down and like write the anger. Just set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes. And once you start it, do not stop writing. Just keep writing words about that anger for the full 10 or 15 minutes and see what comes out. Because sometimes it's surprising. Sometimes there is stuff lingering under there that you did not want to acknowledge that's important for you to find. So I think, again, with anger, especially lingering anger, the question is, anger as a feeling tends to have its own natural kind of crest and fall. And if it's not getting to that fall, there's something still feeding it. Whether that is something that has not healed in the conflict, whether that is something within you, whether that is something you're holding on to, whether that is some benefit that the anger is giving you, you need to figure out what that is that's still giving that anger energy and keeping it going, so that you can figure out whether it is something you can let go of and something you want to let go of.